Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. So today we have Mr. Santosh Kamane, and he is going to talk to us on the role of cybersecurity in banking and financial industry. Let me introduce you to Mr. Santosh. Santosh is a cybersecurity leader and CISO, over 18 years of progressive experience in building information security and risk management program and resilient systems for fintech and banking industries in India and USA. Currently, he is the CEO and co-founder at CyberFit Solutions, a company known for its patented product Wipeout Secure Data Erasure solution. Santosh has worked earlier with DBS Tech India, which is DBS Bank, as a CISO for SVP Risk and Resilience. Please welcome Mr. Santosh.
Thank you, Romila and team InstaSafe for the introduction. I'm happy to be part of this webinar and share my views. Thank you so much.
Okay, so with this, let's move on to the questions for this webinar today. So, sir, we are very glad that you're here with your rich experience in cybersecurity for banking. Sir, my first question to you would be, if you could please tell us the journey of technology transformation that banking industry has gone through in the last decade and how cybersecurity has caught up on this journey.
Definitely, I think it's been almost 20 years since I, started my career, and I clearly remember, when we started, this information risk management practice, back then, information security was still settling in terms that, it was still not accepted as a, separate, dedicated function within organizations. So that was a big challenge. And definitely the lack of awareness, not only amongst the users, even the businesses, right? The leadership, board, nobody really was keen on, adopting these practices. But over the years, with technology, changes, adoption at a rapid pace, fortunately, the regulators have been moving, at the right pace. Like if you see RBI, for example, in India, or, in US, you have Fed, or in Singapore, you have MAS. So they have been, setting up the right regulations, enforcing it across organizations. They're making sure that, cybersecurity is a top-down approach. So that is, making the impact that there should be. So in a way, I think, it's a holistic approach today, and not only banks, even the non-banking industries, they are moving in the right direction. It still might take some time, for practices like risk management, GRC, threat intelligence to be adopted. But I see that in place very soon.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I think that was very insightful answer. And yes, cybersecurity, the way it is shaping up in our country is interesting. Thanks to CISOs like you for bringing the awareness to us. So
Sure.
with this, I would like to ask you, so what is the cybersecurity solution stack implemented within the banking industry? There would be so many cybersecurity solutions at networks and application levels, right? So can you give an insight on how to secure the banking industry in a better manner?
Well, all of us know that, banking industry will always be the prime target for cyber criminals. There's no doubt. Obviously, it's not just money. It's, your reputation, it's your consumer trust, it is your, brand. So in that context, this will continue to be a area of target. Now, unless there is a well-disciplined, well-organized approach to, tackle cybersecurity, it cannot be, it cannot bring that, impact. Like, for example, what I feel that, number one, you need to have something like 3 layers of or 3 lines of defense network. where you clearly have your risk management practices very matured to the point to the point where your business users clearly know how to report and identify risks, where you have the correct mechanisms as your second level of defenses. They know how to implement risk assessment controls. They measure the effectiveness of the risks as well as controls. They take it to the leadership, and there is a independent information assurance party like auditors. So it has to be a holistic approach. Now, coming back to solutions, obviously, like earlier we were talking about the technology adoption. So bank today, or any financial entity for that matter, it doesn't work in its own secluded environment, right? You have partners, you have payment banks, then you have vendors, subcontractors, you have APIs that lets you connect to a different party. So with so much of interaction, like data interaction with back and forth, there is so much of data inflow as well as outflow from your entities. So this is where there is a stricter need for managing security by addressing people, process, and technology risks, right? Educating your people, optimizing your processes, and technology in terms of something that keeps you ahead of the game. Like for example, you should have a critical infrastructure or SOC with the best of the tools, right? UBA, the SIEM, SOAR capabilities. Your people should be continuously logging, monitoring, alerting on the various events that may be happening, because threats are targeting you all the time. That's one. Then your processes, like for example, there could be gaps. Like banks typically have something called as maker checker, where every change needs to be validated, right? Your user onboarding, offboarding, devices getting into your environment, provisioning, deprovisioning. So all of these controls, they are typically listed in most of the regulations. So this is where banks should make sure that they are continuously adhered to and audited all the time.
Thank you, sir. I think that was a very important and insightful answer from your side. So, we few days ago, we had a session internally where one of our colleagues said that the hackers are always 200 times ahead of, the security. So we see that hackers are continuously trying new ways to breach, right? So how does, the banking industry tackle that, and how does it work?
Right. I mean, in the recent times, this is where you see security, which is primarily offense and defense, right? So earlier the focus was more on how do you build your strong defense, but it's good to see more and more organizations are now focusing on building the offense capabilities, like their red teams. So typically you have blue teams, red teams, and purple teams. So red teams, that group needs to be strengthened with best of the tools. I mean, their objective is to break into your security controls and play the role of that hacker in a ethical persona, and report those vulnerabilities or findings. And this is where when it comes to red teaming, what leadership or board can do at the least is to invest in good tools, good people, and give it enough time, because some of the red teaming exercise, for example, these days you heard about Uber, for example. It was compromised with the multi-factor authentication fatigue. I mean, we all thought that MFA is secure control, but even that can be compromised, right? So your red teaming exercises should include something like setting up a fake phishing site and making sure the MFA requests, they are also checked, and get all these possible scenarios kind of tested. Social engineering, your web vulnerabilities. So red teaming scope is very, very important. And then also supplement it with your auditing capabilities. Like, if you do your audits every 6 months, with wider focus, focusing on every area from your HR to sales to, your engineering teams to your facilities, then you know that, all checkpoints are covered.
Thank you. I think you pointed out very, important things, and I'm sure this will create a lot of awareness among our viewers. Yeah, so with this, I think we'll end the webinar. Is there anything else you would like to talk about in banking or,
Well, definitely. I mean, what I feel that especially in banking industry, the adoption of zero trust principles, right? And this is where a lot of players, I think, including InstaSafe, I see that the major risks lie with the user authentication devices and applications infrastructure and a holistic solution which is adopted as a practice. That's going to be the need for the future, and that's something I think we are doing well. It can be better, but I'm sure it is its own evolution. So I think we'll get it there soon. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So, rightly pointed out, zero trust is one of the ways to go ahead with your cybersecurity needs. And we thank you so much for being with us on this platform today.
Thank you.